Justin's urgent call shattered the fragile peace I had started to find. The chilling surveillance photos, the revelation that the dead man had been watching Cherry and me, it all painted a terrifying picture. I was being hunted, and my children were in danger. Then Chester dropped the bombshell, a connection between the dead man and Tanya. My friend, someone I had trusted, was now a suspect. The world tilted on its axis. So who was this man? The one who had been following us, the one who now lay dead? What did he want? And could Tanya, my old friend, truly be involved in this web of danger and deceit? The next day I stood beside Justin's desk, the weight of the previous night's revelations pressing down on me. Chester was on the other side, his face etched with the same grim determination. The air crackled with nervous energy. "Lawrence sent over the full report," Justin said, his voice tight, sliding a tablet across the desk. "It's confusing." Chester leaned closer, his brow furrowed. "The dead man's identity is still unclear. He used multiple aliases, and there are conflicting reports about his background." I scanned the information on the tablet, my eyes narrowing. "So, we have nothing concrete?" "Not exactly," Chester said, his voice carefully measured. "Lawrence did find something else, something that might be relevant." He pointed to a specific file on the tablet. "This document contains notes, detailed notes about Cherry's schedule, her dance classes, her school events, even her playdates." A cold wave of fear washed over me. "He knew everything about her," I whispered, my voice trembling. Justin's jaw tightened. "And there's this." He pointed to a photo in the file. It was a photo of me, but in the background there was a familiar building. "This location matches one of your old residences." "He had information about your past, Nora," Chester added, his voice low. "Very specific information." My heart pounded in my chest. This was more than just surveillance. This was a targeted attack, and it was getting closer. "We need to find out who he was working for," I said, my voice firm, trying to mask the fear that was clawing at me. "I agree," Justin said, his voice hard. "But we need to be careful. We can't afford to make any mistakes." I turned to leave, my mind racing. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The memory of the man in the white suit resurfaced, a chilling reminder of the unknown dangers lurking in the shadows. Later, I found myself in my room, pacing anxiously. My phone buzzed and I answered it quickly. "Solo?" I said, my voice low. "Nora, I have some information," Solo said, her voice serious. "Tell me," I urged, my heart pounding. "The dead man," Solo said, "he had connections, unsavory ones. He was involved in certain criminal activities." "What kind of activities?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. "He worked for a man," Solo said, "a man who has been known to acquire things by any means necessary." "Acquire what?" I asked, my voice trembling. "Information," Solo said. "And people." My blood ran cold. "People?" "Yes," Solo said, "and there's something else. This man, he has a connection to someone from your past, Nora." "Who?" I demanded, my voice rising. "I'm still working on that," Solo said. "But Nora, be careful, this is getting dangerous." "I know," I said, my voice shaking. "Thank you, Solo." I hung up, my mind reeling. The shadows of my past were closing in, and they were connected to the threat against my children. Later, I walked down the hallway, my mind racing. I needed to talk to Justin, to share the information Solo had given me. But as I approached the living room, I heard voices. Justin and Chester were talking. Their voices were low, and they seemed to be arguing. I paused, listening. "I don't understand why you're being so difficult, Chester," Justin said, his voice sharp. "I'm not being difficult," Chester replied, his voice defensive. "I'm just trying to help." "By withholding information?" Justin countered. "You recognize that location in the photo. What aren't you telling us?" I felt a chill run down my spine. The tension between them was palpable. I stepped into the room. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice carefully neutral. Justin turned, his expression guarded. "Nothing, Nora. Just discussing the investigation." Chester's eyes darted between us, his expression unreadable. "Yes," he said, his voice too bright. "Just trying to figure out who's trying to hurt your children." I looked at them, my suspicion growing. Something wasn't right. Later, in the quiet of Pete's room, Pete and Cherry sat on the floor, surrounded by toys. They were deep in conversation, their voices hushed and serious. "They're still fighting," Pete said, his voice filled with concern. "I know," Cherry said, her brow furrowed. But we have to do something. We have to make them fall in love. But what if it doesn't work? Pete asked, his voice anxious. It will work, Cherry said, her voice filled with a childlike determination. We just have to try harder. We have to give them more opportunities to be together. They exchanged a knowing look, their young faces serious and determined. Justin and I were back in his study, poring over the evidence, the photos, the files, the dead man's connections. It was like trying to piece together a puzzle with missing pieces. Look at this, Justin said, pointing to a document. This is a bank statement. The dead man received a large sum of money just a few days before he was killed. Who sent it? I asked, my voice tight. Justin shook his head. The account is untraceable, but look at the memo. He pointed to a line of text. It was a single word. Athena. My breath hitched. Athena? Your name, Justin said, his eyes locking with mine. The room fell silent, the weight of the revelation heavy in the air. Someone had paid the dead man, and they had used my name. Justin's gaze, filled with suspicion, cut through the fragile trust we had begun to build. Solo's findings, the dead man's connections to ruthless criminals and a figure from my past, painted a terrifying picture. My world was crumbling. The past I had tried to bury was reaching out, and my name was being used to frame me. Who was behind this elaborate web of deceit? What secrets were they trying to protect? And what price would my children and I have to pay to uncover them? And as I looked at the name Athena, a cold question echoed in my mind. Was I being hunted, not just for what I knew, but for who I was?